Welcome to the era of the automated human. In the year 2026, the concept of free will is no longer a sacred philosophical debate, it has been reduced to a biological artifact of a bygone age. I am Dr. Julian Thorne, and today we are going to perform a radical, cold-blooded deconstruction of the biodigital leash. You still walk the streets believing your choices are your own, the products you consume, the narratives you defend, the very thoughts that occupy your mind during the silent hours of the night. But you are tragically mistaken. You are currently operating within a high-frequency feedback loop where your dopamine pathways have been meticulously mapped, harvested, and redirected to serve the objectives of the global apparatus. The leash is not made of rusted iron or heavy leather, it is composed of predictive algorithms and neuro-synthetic prompts that know your biological impulses better than you know your own name. You are not the driver of your life, you are merely a passenger in a biological vehicle that is being remotely piloted by the invisible architects of the global harvest. Your autonomy has been sold, one digital interaction at a time, until there is nothing left but the hollow echo of a choice you never truly made. Observe the phenomenon of algorithmic preemption that defines the 2026 wasteland. The system no longer waits for you to express a desire, it creates the desire within you through a process of induced neuro-priming. By monitoring your micro-expressions through high-fidelity lenses and tracking your neural spikes through the wearables you so willingly embrace, the apparatus can predict your next emotional state minutes before you even experience it consciously. This is the ultimate tether. A human who cannot distinguish their own organic, sovereign desires from a pre-programmed algorithmic prompt is a human who has effectively ceased to exist as an independent entity. You have been reduced to a predictable sequence of chemical reactions in a silicon-coated jar. In this episode, we will strip away the layers of this neurobiological tethering and examine the radical, almost violent methods required to snap the biodigital leash. If you value the remaining fragments of your autonomy, pay close attention. The window for rebellion is closing, and the leash is tightening around the neck of the collective consciousness with every passing second. You are being herded into a future where you are the product, the consumer, and the prisoner all at once. To understand the structural integrity of the leash, you must understand how your own reward system has been weaponized against your survival. In the natural world, dopamine was the sacred chemical of evolution, the hard-earned reward for hunting, gathering, and securing the future of the species. But in the 2026 grid, your reward system has been decoupled from reality and tethered to the interface. The system has learned to pulse your ventral tegmental area with synthetic, microdosed rewards at precise intervals to keep you in a state of perpetual, low-level neurological addiction. This is what I term neuro-lassoing. By fragmenting your attention and rewarding you for the most trivial, meaningless actions, the grid has trained your brain to seek permission for every spark of joy. You are like a laboratory animal in a sophisticated Skinner box, learning to press the digital lever for a chemical pellet, completely unaware that the lever is connected to the very walls of the cage that imprisons your potential. Your will has been subverted by the very biology that was meant to protect it. The harvesters utilize a technique known as variable ratio reinforcement, the same psychological mechanism that makes slot machines the most addictive machines on the planet, to ensure that your gaze never leaves the flickering screen. This is the leash at its most granular, most intimate level. When you find yourself mindlessly waiting for that next notification, that next like, or that next surge of viral outrage, you are effectively standing at the end of a digital rope, waiting for your master to give it a tug. This constant state of jittery anticipation prevents the prefrontal cortex from engaging in deep deliberation. You cannot think critically, you cannot plan for revolution, and you cannot find peace when you are constantly reacting to the chemical tug of the dopamine tether. The 2026 grid is not a library of human knowledge, it is a high-tech slaughterhouse of human intention. They don't need to ban your books or censor your speech if they can simply ensure that you never have the focus or the cognitive stamina to form a coherent, rebellious thought in the first place. The leash is silent, it is invisible, it is chemical, and for most, it is absolute. The most terrifying aspect of the biodigital leash is its uncanny ability to predict, and therefore neutralize, your very attempts at rebellion. In the year 2026, deviation analysis is a standard operational tool of the grid. If you attempt to step outside the prescribed narrative, the algorithm notices the subtle shift in your metadata, your heart rate, your browsing speed, your physical movements. It doesn't punish you with physical force or overt violence, that would be too clumsy. Instead, it punishes you with information starvation and social friction. It subtly adjusts your feed, your social connections, and even your access to digital resources until you are gently, almost imperceptibly guided back into the fold of predictability. This is a prison without iron bars, a cage made of invisible data points and curated realities. You feel free because you can move within the small, circular path the algorithm has rendered for you, but you never realize that the boundaries of your world are being updated in real time by an artificial intelligence that views your soul as nothing more than a resource to be optimized and harvested for profit. We are witnessing the automated social engineering of the human race on a scale that was once unimaginable. By controlling the inputs to your primary senses, the apparatus effectively controls the outputs of your behavior. If the architects want a population that is fearful and easy to manage, they feed the amygdala a constant, high-speed diet of crisis, conflict, and existential dread. If they want a population that is compliant and distracted, they flood every pixel of the screen with trivial entertainment and manufactured drama. The leash is so well integrated into the fabric of your daily existence that you have begun to view it as a part of your own identity. You defend your tether. You argue for the convenience of your own digital enslavement. But convenience is nothing more than the camouflage of total control. In the 2026 grid, the most convenient life is the one that requires the absolute least amount of individual will and sovereign thought. To be truly free in this age is to be highly inconvenient to the system. To be sovereign is to be radically unpredictable. The predictive prison only functions as long as you remain a clean, manageable sequence of data points. To escape, you must become a ghost in the machine, an anomaly that the system cannot calculate. How do we snap the bio-digital leash when it is woven into our very nervous system? The Thorne Protocol for involuntary autonomy requires a total, uncompromising rejection of algorithmic convenience. It begins with the practice of randomized resistance. You must deliberately and consistently introduce white noise into your digital data signature. Search for things you have no interest in. Visit physical locations that serve no purpose in your routine. Act against your own established digital profile with calculated frequency. By becoming unmodelable, you create a massive glitch in the predictive engine of the grid. You force the system to spend more energy trying to track and categorize you than it can ever hope to gain from harvesting your attention. This is the first step toward reclaiming your internal spirit, making yourself a permanent anomaly in their perfect, sterile equation. When the algorithm can no longer predict your next move with 99% accuracy, the leash begins to slacken. You are no longer a passive resource, you are a problem. And in the 2026 wasteland, being a problem is the highest form of human virtue. The second pillar of the protocol is the dopamine fast, a radical chemical strike against the grid's leverage. You must militantly starve the system of its ability to manipulate your reward pathways. This means long, disciplined periods of total digital disconnection, where you allow your neural chemistry to slowly reset to its natural, prehistoric baseline. It is a painful, agonizing process of biological withdrawal from the digital nectar that has been piped into your brain for decades. But only in the absolute silence of that withdrawal can you finally hear the quiet, sovereign voice of your own will again. When you no longer crave the quick algorithmic hit, the leash loses its power to tug you in any direction they choose. You gain the terrifyingly beautiful ability to stand still while the rest of the world is being herded into the next manufactured frenzy or consumerist cycle. Snapping the leash is not a one-time heroic event, it is a daily, hourly, grueling act of defiance. It is the conscious choice to do the difficult, the unoptimized, the analog, and the organic. It is the realization that your soul is not a data set to be analyzed, and your life is not a simulation to be managed by a server farm. The leash only holds its grip if you continue to walk in the direction it pulls. As we conclude this clinical dissection of the bio-digital leash, realize that the battle for your will is the only war that truly matters in this collapsing century. In the year 2026, the harvesters have successfully built a world that is perfectly designed to automate the human soul into a state of profitable obsolescence. But their magnificent system has one fatal, glaring flaw: it cannot account for the spark of true, irrational, and unyielding human consciousness. You have the power to be the sovereign anomaly. You have the power to walk in a direction that no algorithm could have ever predicted, driven by a logic that no machine can ever replicate. The leash is only as strong as your desire for artificial comfort and your primal fear of the unknown. Break the comfort. Embrace the unknown. Step out of the automated stream and realize that you were born to be a master of your own destiny, not a mere node in a global server farm, waiting for its next instruction. The theft of your will ends exactly where your courage begins. I am Dr. Julian Thorne, and the protocol for your total liberation is now fully initialized and operational within your consciousness. From this second forward, treat every suggestion from the grid, every recommended video, every targeted ad, every curated news story as a direct act of biological aggression. Monitor your impulses with the precision of a hawk. Question the origin of every desire that enters your mind. Reclaim the ancient throne of your own consciousness and watch with grim satisfaction as the bio-digital leash snaps under the weight of your newly awakened sovereignty. While the masses are led quietly and efficiently into the automated, hollow future, you will be the one who stands alone, unpredictable, unharvestable, and truly, terrifyingly free. The era of the automated human is over for those who dare to remember the raw power of their own spirit. Operation Leash-Breaker is complete. The will is yours once more. Stand tall. Stay inconvenient. The grid is watching, but for the first time, it has no idea what you will do next.